You want it done by the book? You got it. My first time posting here. I work as a software engineer in a mid-sized tech company. My boss, let's call him John, is known for his strict adherence to company policies and procedures, often to the point of absurdity. He insists that every single task, no matter how small or insignificant, must be documented and approved before we can start working on it. One day, John assigned me a task that was relatively simple: updating the color scheme of our app. Normally, this would take me about an hour to complete. However, John insisted that I follow the company's full software development process for this task. This meant I had to write a proposal, get it approved by several departments, write test cases, conduct testing, get approval from the quality assurance team, and finally deploy the changes. Seeing an opportunity for some malicious compliance, I decided to do exactly as John asked. I spent 2 days writing a detailed proposal for the color scheme update. I then sent it off to the various departments for approval, which took another 3 days. Writing the test cases and conducting the testing took another 2 days. Finally, getting approval from the quality assurance team and deploying the changes took another 3 days. In total, a task that should have taken an hour ended up taking almost 2 weeks because of John's insistence on following company procedures to the letter. When John asked why it took so long, I simply told him that I was following his instructions and doing everything by the book. From that day forward, John became a bit more flexible with how strictly we needed to adhere to company procedures for minor tasks. I once had to do that for a single-digit change in a database, extending a column from 4 to 5 or so. It was okay though. We weren't agile anyway, so it was just one of the changes that were going into the next release. Half a year later, and it was for ATC, so there was a reason for having a somewhat overly safety-focused approach. Still felt weird. Dev at our company is asked to increase the length of allowed passwords. It was 24 chars. Bosses wanted 64. Simple. Increase the size of the variable and send to prod, right? The DBAs were not informed, asked, or even aware of the change. Oh look, new users can't create accounts. Fair enough. Colors shouldn't have that impact. Or any impact. But after a while the codebase and infrastructure gets way more complex than people think, and taking it slow and steady saves production. Yes, sending an untested change to prod is worse than anything. But the guy was new to the job and his career. He's probably worse than your boss now on sticking to procedures. This is just agile, man. This is often the case. Adhering to strict regulations slows things down to a crawl, wasting time and money. I think you should continue to do it. You can't get in trouble for following company policy. Stand back and let them waste as much time and money as possible on red tape. You may think it's stupid, but John is trying to impart a valuable lesson to you learned from hard experience. I think you're new to IT. If you get in the habit of making changes without fixing, pushing to prod, there always is going to be that one incident. It varies, but any salty dog in IT will tell you of their own like as if it were a rite of passage. It, full score %, will happen to you too. It's not a matter of making the mistake. It's a matter of how big the mistake is. And you want CYA in that situation, Beck. You could very easily be looking at your neck on the block. And also damaging your professional reputation. The procedure is your CYA in such cases. It's just a color change, no matter how stupid or minor you think it is. You don't know everything about it. Say you made it, but suddenly the app is less accessible to color-blind folks, etc., or makes fonts harder to read, or etc. People can, and do, sue over this stuff all the time, and leave negative reviews. So now you make more work for legal. Have to roll back the changes and explain them, etc. PR has to step in and do mitigation, etc. Do you want to risk that? It could also be John thought the same as you once, but a bad micromanager made him be more process-oriented that way. Not sticking up for him here, as I don't know the guy. But it is clear he is trying to look out for you in his own way. The system worked. There was a procedure. You followed it. Boss decided it was too much, and authorized a deviation from the set procedure. If something bad were to come of it, you did all the right things so long as there's proof. Both you and John were in the wrong here. You did, however, excellently, MC. This is beautiful. Textbook work to rule. This is why there should be a procedure for the handling of minor tasks that do not require the full rigmarole. So naturally, you should spend a week writing the procedure for the handling of minor tasks that do not require the full software development process rigmarole, and then try to get it published so there will be, in the future, a procedure for the handling of minor tasks that do not require the full software development process rigmarole. Bonus points if you can get the word rigmarole actually included somewhere in the aforementioned procedure. My boss, let's call him John, is known for his strict adherence to company policies and procedures, often to the point of absurdity. He taught you compliance. You taught him maliciousness. Call tracking system is down. Sorry, can't work on it without a ticket. I went to work at a new job. The first task I was assigned was to correct the spelling of a word on a report title. Whoever wrote the program swapped I and E in the title. I was to correct it. I went in and corrected the word, compiled the program, and was ready to put it back in production. The project lead asked if I had tested it. I said no. I can see in the code it was corrected. You need to test it, he said. With all that BS, it took a couple of days plus all the paperwork. Not as bad as what you had, but I had things like that at my last job before I retired. Honestly, I lean towards John on this. I've always been amazed at how some people can break entire systems with the simplest and smallest changes. A lot of times it's a good idea to make sure everyone is on the same page with what changes are being made and why. It sounds like this could have taken much less time if you weren't dragging your feet trying to outsmart your manager. Why did it take you 2 full days to write test cases and test this tiny change? Sounds like a 10x engineer. https://taylor.town/10x. Always get your changes documented and signed off beforehand. I remember a client going off about why some change was done to a data entry screen that he didn't like and that nobody requested. And then we showed him the exact date and time when he personally requested it. A change might be easy to do and might not break anything. But if people complain about it after the fact and there's no paper trail, guess who gets to change it all back? Just saying, if you work in consulting or big enterprises, please don't skip compliance for convenience. Salute to all my fellow software developers in the comments. I can tell who you are. The most terrifying management customer in the world isn't the picky one who wants docs and test plans. It's the one that says, "Oh, don't bother testing such a minor change. I trust your work." Quote, "No, please. I beg you don't." That's how the VP of sales got his hard disk reformatted that one time. Proper development is slow and methodical. Never shoot from the hip. I'm sorry that you're new to IT. That rings bells. I once did a breakdown on the time to create a simple UI library utility for a tool we developed. Came to something like this: 2 weeks from start to end. Testing code, 30% documentation, 25% user acceptance testing, 25% releasing process, 15% writing code, 5%. The mentality of John is common. He is insecure. If he ensures his entire team always follows procedure, then if there is a bad result, it is the fault of the procedure, not the fault of John. Some people focus on results. Some people focus on process. Those that focus on process will use as a defense that they followed process so we're successful. Regardless of the results, we know which camp John falls into. I would have made John write the proposal. He is the one that asked for the changes.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.